Good morning, my Teaserking family. Let's try this for the fourth time. So I've been having internet problems where I'm freezing up, so I'm trying it again. I apologize for this. It's more frustrating for me because I don't want to talk for an hour and then realize that nobody heard a word I said. So anyway, I hope your holidays are going well. We'll jump into the NFL. Comex looks like it's on its last leg. Looking at Mr. Fuji, the AI guy, which I really hate this guy, but if we look at it, we're not going to watch the video. We're just going to read it. So he says sell silver now, leak memo, why Morgan Stanley is panic selling. Okay, but what does that really mean? It really means, what was my example of that? Let's see, when something's going, they get out of it. Well, that's kind of, I'm watching Attack on Wall Street again. And, everybody dumped their positions in the real estate trust market, which is mortgages, because nobody could pay them because people were in it who shouldn't have been in it and couldn't afford it. So with that said, everybody's bailing out of Comex because it's broken. It's gone. It's done. Now, I don't know, but if they're coming out with memo, the guy who reads the memos, I've been really lighting this turkey up. Like he says stuff that you just don't believe. Oh, I got this letter from so and so. Oh, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, I can't tell about these two people because I'll get them fired. What are you talking about? You don't have to say their names. Just say two people from this. I heard from this bank and that bank that they're doing. So basically, all the banks realize they're about to go broke because they can't handle their derivatives and options and all the shorts. They have no silver to cover and they can't find silver to cover. And so they're going out and they understand. And so they're panicking and just liquidating whatever they can, their positions. Will they get a bailout? Well, if the money's not worth anything, what's the bailout going to be worth? So I'll give you $1 billion of monopoly money. What does that help you with? That's the bigger thing, is understanding that the money's worthless, right? Do the banks understand that? I doubt it. They're not that intelligent. They just think they can keep printing money. They're the ones who are behind the hyperinflation, and so they think they can just keep printing. So how would they know it's inflation? They think it's probably cost. Prices going up, but they don't have a clue. So it looks like it's going out. But now keep in mind, if you see this chucklehead out there and he has one sell silver, one buy silver. So I don't know who he is, but he doesn't explain it as paper. He doesn't explain it as derivative. And I hate when he starts off with, well, let me explain what a dollar is. Just get to the fucking point. They're going to sell, if they're selling dollars, okay, just get to the point. Why are they selling dollars? So what you have is basically all the banks who are short because they're idiots. Did they not understand BRICS is buying? So with all that, they're short and they can't get out, right? They owe and they can't get out, and they need physical because China and Russia want physical. They can't deliver it. And therefore, what are they going to do? So they're out of it. And that's the thing. But I hate watching this guy's videos. I've been really telling him, F off. And it's like, you're not real. You're AI. You're not real. And you make these statements that nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. He doesn't explain well, but he just talks off his head that, I can explain what inflation is. He can't explain whatever the hell he's talking about. So anyway, look for Comex to be in trouble this month. They won't have the silver to get out of their short positions, and it'll basically be the end of it because there'll be no confidence. People will not come there because they don't have any gold or silver to buy, and nobody wants to play the options. That's not what they're doing now. Now they're in Comex to get the physical. where else can they get physical silver for $72 an ounce? Nowhere. If it's 130 in Japan and 85 in Singapore, unlikely they can get it for 72 anywhere, and it doesn't exist. So people will come in, but like I said, it's like the ice cream store. Well, we have 32 flavors. Well, do you have any chocolate? No, we're out. Do you have any vanilla? No, you're out. Guess what? You have no more customers because I really wanted chocolate or vanilla. You don't have it, so I'm going to get out, right? I'm out. Goodbye. And that's what comex is. Really, it's a trading mechanism to price fix it. It's JP Morgan's little Ponzi scheme. And now it's been caught, and they want delivery of physical, which they don't have and they never had, and they're fucked. So now when Trump went into Venezuela to get Montero, this idiot thought that they were there to steal the silver from the mines, and it was Russia and China who stole the silver. They didn't steal it. It's theirs. Russia and China own Venezuela. You must understand that. So when you're going into Venezuela, you better have made a phone call to Putin saying, hey, we want to invade it. We want Montero, and the U.S. wanted the gold and silver, but Russia and China took it and left with it before the U.S. could do it. And what are you going to do with Russia and China? You're not going to do anything. So the U.S. shows their hand. We're broke. We're invading other countries to steal their gold, silver, oil, minerals because we're broke. Because our liberals here won't let us dig gold and silver in Nevada or whatever. It's crazy. Prophet, good morning. I had a 13-point teaser yesterday where 3 of the picks won and 1 pushed, and they canceled the wager. What do you mean they canceled the wager? You should have went down to a 3-team teaser. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what bookie you use, but if you push on a game, you didn't lose. So instead of a 4-team teaser, goes to a 3. And the only thing I can think of is if they don't allow 3-team teasers. I don't know. I don't know the rules on 13-point teasers. I don't take them. I assume, I don't know what your loss was. I mean, you won on Carolina and Tampa. You won on Seattle. You won on the Niners. You won on the under in Carolina, and the over you lost. You got killed if you took the over in the Niner games. I don't know where you were pushing. Pinnacle, but that only applies to parlays apparently. Oh, you got to read the instructions there. Sorry you got screwed, but you got to know who you're dealing with and what are the rules. But you should lose if you put 3 right and the 4th one push. They shouldn't be canceling the wager. So I assume you didn't lose money. I assume you just bet 100, you get your 100 back, which is too bad. But today we can find you 8 or 9 games to win on. Anyway, so the U.S. is going to war to steal gold and silver because we're broke. Hey, we got 38 trillion in debt, or 39 trillion. We got to pay over $1 trillion in interest. We got to pay Social Security and Medicare. We got to pay for all the government employees. I mean, that's the first thing that needs to go, the government employees, and then the defense contractors, who apparently have run out of silver because they're a bunch of idiots not knowing they need silver for their weapons, waiting until the price goes up, waiting until they can't get any, and then they go, oh, shit, we need it. I mean, these are morons in business, all of them. They don't like me because I'm a critical thinker. I've been told because I was saying this in Alabama 5 years ago that you need silver because it's gone, and everybody laughed at me. Oh, okay, keep laughing. Prophet, Pinnacle, Prophet. I had Carolina over 30, which pushes. Why in the world did you play that? I got a refund. Yeah, you shouldn't. I don't understand why you played that. I love the game under. We were both under teams. That was my only play in that game was the under. Don't forget, you're not smarter than me. You might want to be smarter than me, but when it comes to football, you're not smarter than me. So don't be fucking around playing bets you shouldn't be playing. That's the first rule. Anyway, so the demand for physical silver is what's closing comex, because comex was a paper game made for just derivatives and options for price fixing. It was never meant for physical. Now everybody wants physical. The defense contractors want it. All the companies want it. If Trump came out with this bill saying, Apple, you can't use silver, well, they'll just move to China or wherever. They'll all get silver from other countries if it's Apple, because they can pay for it. They'll all pay for it. I can go to my guy's store. I got 5 ounces last week, so he had silver. And it's funny, he didn't even charge a premium. It was like $76, and that's what I got it for, 76. So yeah, just to keep in mind, a lot of these videos are saying it like Mr. Fuji here. He says, sell silver now. What he's talking about is paper, not physical, but he can't differentiate. What do? I tell you the paper price of gold and silver, so it's the paper price, not the physical, because the physical price is 10 times more, which we don't know. So to sell silver now, it's a totally misleading bullshit title. It's the banks are selling it because there isn't any, and we're talking paper and we're talking in comex. We're not talking in the real world. So I don't like this guy for that kind of stuff. All right, we'll get back into that later. So let's go through football. 16-13, Tampa, Carolina, a rainy day. I told you both teams are under teams. They don't score, and they got 23 defenses. So why would you play the over? This is why I give you the details, right? I'm telling you they're under teams. How are you going to get a high-scoring game with under teams, right? I went under 40, was 44, was under 50, right? So why? Because neither team can score. Baker Mayfield's been hurt. Steve Young's terrible. Decent defenses. And the rain, I saw rain, but I didn't realize it was going to rain the whole fucking game. So I'm under 50, but I didn't want to play Carolina because I didn't trust Steve Young, but Tampa doesn't score. So it's an under game. Then we get Seattle, Frisco. Both teams were Seattle with the 14 defense, Frisco with the 22. But when I'm looking at the last 5, Seattle scores 30, 40 a game. Frisco scores 35 points a game, 40-something on the Bears, who have a good defense. And I'm shocked by this score. I'm shocked that Frisco got 13-3. That you couldn't see coming, because Seattle's 14 defense gave up 42 to the Rams. So that's why I thought it was misleading, because it was against the Jets and Miami and crap teams like that. I think Carolina. So Seattle has a good defense, but what happened in the game is Seattle ran the ball, and they made it an Army-Navy game, and they took time off the clock, and that's what they did. And the coach is still an idiot, going for it. First possession, down to the 5-yard line. Instead of kicking the easy field goal, he goes for it. It's not even close. You got Sam Darnold. Do you realize you got Sam Darnold, who's the biggest choker in the world, and he throws a bad pass, and it's 0-0. And you're like, well, they got the ball at the 5. No, the object of the game is to outscore the other team. So therefore, you get your 3 points, you take the lead. It's early in the first quarter, go. And then the rest of the game, they were playing this shell defense zone, keeping everything in front of them. And, it was over. It was over Brock Purdy's head. It was obviously over Mike Shanahan's head. He obviously had no idea what to do, even though he played Seattle before in a low-scoring game. So basically, Seattle took the air out of the ball, ran it, went on 8-9-minute drives, and basically was just going to consume the time. And then Frisco didn't have as many possessions, and then they were making them beat them throwing the ball deep. And Frisco, they're missing their receivers. I don't really like the guy from Florida, their number 1 pick last year. He's terrible. And then, you had Kittle, McCaffrey, they just bottled him up. So it's just outcoached by Seattle, where they just ran it down the Niners' throat, and that was it. So 13-3. Is Seattle a Super Bowl team? Not at all. The Niners got exposed. They were playing well. I don't know what happened and why they acted like they never seen the ball before. Purdy looked pretty good. He running the ball, and they just couldn't get the ball to McCaffrey or not, because that was all they had was him and Kittle. The receivers suck. I don't know how they got so poor on their receivers, but you see Debo Samuel on Washington, and you're like, you let him go, but you don't have anybody. So we'll see. But again, Seattle 13-3. Darnold unimpressive as usual in a big game. Did nothing. I don't know if he had any turnovers, but anyway, so Seattle gets the win 13-3. Now I bet that over based on the assumption of they're both scoring 35 points a game. You're probably going to get a high scoring game. And I didn't think Seattle's defense was much better than the Bears, and they put up 40 on a good Bear defense. So I didn't think that would be a problem. So again, it was Seattle running the ball that ate the time off the clock that made it an under game. But they don't normally do that, so that's what was surprising. All right, let's go back through. Atlanta 3.5, 43.5. They have nothing to play for, Atlanta. New Orleans, a B team with an 18 defense. You got to be careful. And Atlanta, an over team with the 27 defense. Alavi's been playing well. Kamara, I think he's out. I doubt he'll play. Shaw's been okay, nothing great. He's scrambling around. I love how these new quarterbacks think they're supposed to run and not throw. Cousins, we know he's a choke. There's nothing for them to play for. Atlanta wins, Carolina's in. Atlanta loses, Tampa's in. So what is the incentive of Atlanta here? Zero. You got Kirk Cousins. We'll see. What's the incentive for New Orleans? Nothing. It's just that they're playing well. So they'll keep Shaw and they'll play well. Their defense looks like it's good. It's an 18 defense. So therefore, I think New Orleans is a very live dog in this game. As far as total, I'm not sure. It could go either way, so I wouldn't play it. Bengals and Browns. Bengals 8.5, 46.5. This is the game you should have been your fourth game profit is Cincinnati instead of fucking around with Carolina overs. Cleveland, a W team with a 24 defense, Prime Junior. Seattle, Cincinnati, a B team with the 23, and Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow and Chase are going to light up Cleveland. They want to end in the bag. Play against Cleveland's road dog is 12-2. 6-1 this year. This is all Cincy. It's all Joe Burrow. Minnesota, Green Bay. Minnesota 12.5, 37.5. I don't know why the line jumped from 7 to 9.5 to 12.5 because Clayton Tune is the quarterback for Green Bay. And it looks like they're not going to try. Minnesota has J.J. McCarthy, who always looks like he's not trying. Green Bay an over team, but you can't count it because they don't have their quarterback and a 28 defense. Minnesota an under team with a 15 defense. I think Minnesota wins like 17-0 or something. J.J. McCarthy, he stinks, but they have a great defense. So I don't know what to say. I think Minnesota wins kind of. I mean, it looks like Green Bay, Philadelphia, they're just not going to try San Diego. And they're just I don't understand the coach's decision to rest players and give up a game and not try. That's a bad influence you put in the players' minds. Hey, John C., good morning. So, I mean, I think Minnesota wins, but now you're laying 12.5. That's crazy. 37 total, probably an under because Minnesota with the great defense would be my guess how the game will go. Dallas and the Giants. We got the Dallas as an over team with Dak, who apparently is playing. I don't know about CeeDee Lamb and the other guy, Pickett. 33 defense, and that will be playing against the Giants at 349.5. The Giants an E team with the 25 defense and Dart. The Giants do score. Dart runs, and he can't throw, but he can run. Play against the Giants 27-6. I don't know what to expect here. Is Dallas really going to try and play Dak the whole game, or is he just going to play the first quarter or half? Why he's playing, I don't know. CD Lamb and Pickens, you just don't think I think they'll play the first quarter, first half, and then they're out. I don't know that you get over because again, you don't know, are they playing or not? And that makes it, how do you bet the game if you don't know the players? So I avoid that one at all costs. Now we get to the meat and potatoes. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Jacksonville is 12.5, 46.5. Tennessee, a W with a 27 defense. Cam Ward, who needs to go back to high school. Jacksonville, an 18 with a 16 defense. And Trevor Lawrence, who needs to go back to high school. He stinks. All he does is run the ball. He can't throw. I mean, he's really terrible. That's what he was at Clemson. He just ran. He never threw. I was watching the Ohio State game. He didn't complete 50% of his passes, but what he did was run. Very strange. Not a good quarterback. Another guy who's out of position. Jacksonville an A with the 16. So I think the defense wins it. They'll just methodically clean Tennessee's house. Keep it under 7. I think you can take Jacksonville. And then the total of 47, I think, goes over. Tennessee, Ward seems to run they get a couple of touchdowns, but they give up so many. So I think if you're going to play total here, you play over. I think you'd play Jacksonville under a touchdown. But I don't trust Trevor Lawrence that much. It's a big spread, but they have to win the 1 seed. So there's the incentive. And Tennessee, I don't know what they're playing for. I love when these teams who shouldn't even be out there are playing. Like, yeah, who cares? Indy and Houston. We got Houston 10, 37.5. Indy, a W team with a 29 defense. The defense has gone to shit. And now Riley Leonard's going to start. Why? Why is Riley Leonard starting? Well, I guess because Phillip Rivers, what's the point of having him out there? Houston's a B team with the 17 defense. The defense will dominate the game for Houston. Leonard's going to be, 2-3 interceptions. He'll be sacked 5 times. CJ Stroud's terrible, but, just run the ball, please. Again, Houston 15-1 in a teaser this year. 10-2 is a home favorite, and Indy 9-1 on the road if you bet against them. So this is a Houston bet at home. We just hope we don't get like a game against Oakland where we're laying. Well, that was a big spread. That we were laying like 8. Here you're laying 4. I think that's doable. Much better than the Jacksonville 12.5 down to 6.5 or 7. The Bills to the Jets. Josh Allen is starting, but is he playing? This spread's up to 10 now, which I don't think makes any sense. Is Josh Allen really going to play the whole game against the JETSs? And a 37.5. The Jets, a Z team with a Z team with a 36 defense. So the Jets are probably the worst team in the league next to Oakland. And we got Steve Cook from the Pro Bowlers Tour as the quarterback. And Buffalo, a B team with the 21 defense. And they'll win. Buffalo should kill them. Now, I've already bet this at 7. This is what I bet early. I know what I want. I don't need to wait till today to make the bet. Like there was that thing this guy was telling me about, like closing line variance. And I'm like, if I waited until the closing line to make my bet, I wouldn't win any games. I can spot the winner a mile away on Tuesday. Okay, maybe I wait for an injury or the weather, but I'm shot. So I shot my load on Buffalo on like Friday. It's like, yeah, okay, Josh Allen's playing. Okay, I'll bet it. Do they need the game? Well, they're a wild card team, and maybe they get a little better position, but I think you want to go into the playoffs winning. That's why I really question Philadelphia and San Diego and Green Bay laying down like this. I think terrible coaching, which we know they all have terrible coaching. I go out there to win. I don't tell my players, let's lose. And I don't pull my starters So it looks like we're trying, but we're really not. Because if we're trying, we have our best players out there. Love's got concussion. He's fine. He should be quarterbacking for Green Bay. Josh Allen has a hurt ankle. He's going to play. That's the difference between winners and losers. Philadelphia, I don't know why they're sitting Hurts out. God knows he needs the practice. He's terrible. So I don't know. We'll get into quarterbacks in a minute. Lions and the Bears. Chicago's now 3.5, 350.5. This is your free play. I love the Bears. 41-20 revenge game. The Lions basically are done. Their offensive line, Penny Sewell's out. Center, the guards are terrible, even if they're playing. I'm sure the other tackle's out. Golf stinks anyway. St. Thomas is hurt, so I don't know how long he's going to play. And then the defense is all injured, and Hutchinson never recovered from breaking his leg. I made that comment, and I heard on the radio, "Oh, they think he'll never play." It's only a broken leg. No, it broke in half, you idiot. And believe me, it's much more mental than it is physical. And he's sucked this year. So, and they gave him a nice $30 million contract. They're out of their minds on line. They don't know what they're doing. And I'll tell you, they're going to be bad for the next 10 years because they don't get that number one pick and number two pick that they got, Hutchinson and Golf, or not Golf, St. Thomas, and then the running back, whatever his name is. They don't, those were because they were top 10 picks. They don't have that anymore. They're drafting, 20? And they're going to be good enough because they have enough talent to go 8 and 9 every year, and they're going to get the 15th, 20th pick. They don't have the defense to be a top 5 team anymore. And with your safeties going down, it's amazing how you break a leg, you don't just recover, right? Plus mentally, you don't recover. It took me a while. I broke my ankle, and it took me a while. I could walk on it after a month because I had no calf muscle. But even then, you kind of worried about it. Better be careful with it. This is football. You want them to play football as if nothing happened. One guy tore his Achilles, Barnes or whatever, or Branch, and you think he's just going to come back the same way he was? No, it doesn't work like that. So their whole secondary is hurt. They were all hurt last year. They're all hurt this year. There's a problem with the coach. There's a problem with the field. I would go to grass if you want to have a competitive team that doesn't get hurt, because you get a lot more injuries on that turf. I hurt my ankle running on that turf at a high school, and it was very hard. I don't know. That's why you got so many injuries. But the owners who are making billions of dollars don't want to spend $1 million on grass. They just want to have this artificial turf and get all their players hurt. It really makes zero sense. Sounds like Comex, right? So I don't think Lions will be good for a long time. Golf, he's never been any good. I figured that out when he got killed by Utah in the Pac-10 championship game several years ago. He's never won a big game in his life. In the Super Bowl, he got a whole 3 points on New England. And all he does is play action pass, which is getting old. We see that. We figured that out. How about if you drop back? They just put pressure on him. And that's where was all the blitzing yesterday on Darnell. Do you know how to beat him? You blitz him. Detroit did that against Minnesota, and then the Rams did that. Where was the Niners blitzing Darnell? It was ridiculous. You know how to beat him, and then you don't do it. Well, you fucking idiots. I thought Salo was a better coach than that. Anyway, I think the Bears are going to kill him. The Bears are on a roll. They want to win. They're playing to win, and they're going to run it down their throats. And the way the Bears have been playing, they're for real. You think, well, they didn't play anybody. Well, they still won. Okay, granted, yeah, they beat the Jets and they beat, Miami and they beat Carolina. But at the end of the day, they did beat Philly. They did beat Green Bay, and they will get revenge on Detroit because the coach is too stupid. He wins 51-20. Well, don't you think you're going to have revenge in that? You just piss them off. Now they get a chance to rub it in your face. They're going to rub it in your face. And the Bears, I got 41-20. San Diego, Denver. We got Denver 14, 37.5. Um, we got Trey Lance going against Bo Nix. Trey Lance sucks. Uh, he had a good preseason game against Detroit, so everybody thought, "Oh, he's really good." No, Detroit really sucks on defense. Um, Trey Lance has never been good. He wants to run too much, and Denver's defense is going to eat him alive. Bo Nix. The trouble with Denver is they don't normally blow out, but San Diego's resting a lot of their players, and Trey Lance isn't going to do anything. I think Denver blows out finally. They want to get the lead, and then they can sit Bo Nix out in the fourth quarter or whatever. So look for Denver to finally win a game. But I am a little scared. I wouldn't lay the 14. I laid 12.5 down to 6.5, but I'm not laying 14 down to 8. I've been there, done that, and I can't really trust them, even though Herbert's out and the running back's out and some of the other defensive players are out. You still got pros in there. So I don't know. I'm hoping Denver just wins 42-0, but I don't know. Then we've got KC 4.5, 36.5 to Oakland. We've got KC. I don't know. I can't grade them because of Oladankan from South Dakota State is the quarterback. 22 defense. That still stays. KC will play. Andy Reid doesn't go out to lose. Even when they had the number 1 seeds, he would play Mahomes in the last week. Oakland is a Z team with the 29. You got Crosby out. You've got Bowers out. And they want to lose to get the 1 seed. So I think Kansas City's gold here at 4.5. I don't think I would touch the total, although I think it would be under because Denver's got the defense, Kansas City's got the defense, but Oakland doesn't want to win. So maybe you take KC, but you got to trust Oladankin. Can you trust Oladankin? I don't bet on a guy from South Dakota State who's played in 1 game. We got Arizona at the Rams. The Rams are up to 14. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I bet this game at LA -7. This is why I don't wait. So I know they're going to kill them. Oh, this must be because the Rams want a better seed now that the Niners lost. The Rams can be, I guess, the 5 seed and play an easier game than against Philly. So now the Rams are going to play, and I'm glad I made those bets early. This is why I bet early. Yeah, the Rams. This was a play at 7. At 14, I don't know, but Arizona is a Z team with the 34 defense. Brissett, okay. The Rams, they got fucked on the Seattle game. An incomplete pass is an incomplete pass. It's not a lateral. Sorry. That call was ridiculous. Seattle 2-point conversion was ridiculous. But it shows you the Rams put up 40 points on Seattle and the Niners put up 3. Like, who's the better team, right? There you go. The Rams then lost to Atlanta somehow when Stafford played horrible in the first half. Came back to tie the game up. So I was hoping we'd get the winner there. But I love LA mostly because Arizona's got the 34 defense. He's going to have a field day, and they lost 2 in a row. They will not lose 3 in a row, especially against Arizona. They will win by double digits. So the total of 47, I'm not interested in it. I was much more interested in the Rams -1 than I am this. So again, this is why you don't wait till today to bet. I already knew what was going to happen. I knew the Rams were going to play, and they were laying 7. I mean, that was gold right away. I mean, there was no, because they had lost 2 in a row. They're not about to rest their players and lose 3 in a row going into the playoffs. You can't do that. That's why I don't understand Green Bay and Philly resting their players. San Diego, what are they doing? They're not going to win anything in the playoffs. Miami at New England. New England is 12.5. Where are they? Now they were 10. Now they're 12.5. Miami an under team with the 23 and Brock and Ewers from Texas, who sucks, and New England an 18 with the 21 defense. This goes back to Tampa last week. You had Ewers and you let him beat you. Are you crazy? And so it's like Pittsburgh. They had an easy game and they lost to Cleveland. And oh, they got to play to beat Baltimore. And the same thing here with Tampa Bay, where they should have easily won and they're in, and they lose, and now they're 8-9, hoping for Atlanta to lose. I mean, when all they had to do is beat a shit Miami team with Urs, who stinks. So look for New England to shut them out here. Maybe Urs runs for a touchdown or something. New England with the big defense, a 21 defense, and Miami with the worst. Good luck. New England's 15-1 in a teaser. Excuse me. So New England 15-1 in a teaser this year. Drake May's throwing the ball down the field better. Can he read defenses yet? I don't know. I don't see him enough. But New England is playing for the 1 seed with Denver now. What happens when Denver's up 24-0? Does New England keep going? I think they do. I think they're going to pound them in the first half, Denver and New England. Jacksonville, I don't trust Lawrence, but again, those three are playing for the 1 seed. Probably goes to Denver. I can't see them losing without Herbert. And then New England against Miami. New England, I'm sure they'll play because of Vrabel. Jacksonville, I don't know. They're the least likely of the three to actually carry a big spread. Houston then going to try to get the seed over Jacksonville and win the division. We'll see. All right. So New England playing for the 1 seed. Dolphins to sit stars, Acme and Waddle for finale. Okay. Devontae Adams and top 2 running backs among 6 Rams questionable for the game. That means they'll play. They need the game. Washington, Philly. Philly 3.5 and 38.5. Nothing really changed there. Washington, the Z team with the terrible defense, 28, and Johnson's the quarterback. Against Philly, they're an under team anyway with the 21, and I guess Keegan is his name or something like that. It won't be Hurts. I doubt Barkley plays. Jalen Carter's out. Josh Johnson to start for Washington. Well, that's no surprise. Washington's basically given up, and their defense is a 28. So Philly, I don't know. I don't know what these coaches are doing. Oh, let's not try so we can not get anybody hurt. If you have that attitude, you ain't winning shit. This is football. If you don't want to get hurt, go play tennis or golf. But if you're going to play football, people are going to get hurt. You need to practice. You need the timing of the quarterback and the receivers. You need the defense. You need the line getting the timing amongst each other, and that's it. So I don't know. I think Phil Keegan Kylie, whatever his name is, you can't count in it. Probably an under team because neither quarterback is any good, so they probably won't get a lot of points. So that's how I look at this game. But I'm a mile away from it. I have no interest in it. And our last game is Baltimore 3.5, 41.5. Let's call it 4. Baltimore, an even team with the 22 defense, and they're going with Lamar. Big mistake. They should stick with Huntley. Pittsburgh, an under team with the 20 defense. They do get C.J. Watt back. Lamar will play and winner take all game. Yeah, that's probably the worst news Baltimore fans can get. So Rodgers is playing. Now DK Metcalf's out because the guy from Detroit should be in jail for harassing. And then they blame. So if I provoke you and you react, you get in trouble for reacting, even though I did the provoking, and that's bullshit. So the guy in Detroit should be kicked out, thrown in jail for harassing. You're there to go watch the game. You're not there to mingle with the players. Like I said yesterday, I got Frank Thomas's autograph. It was Chicago was into Detroit. and he came to the stands to sign autographs. And I had two Frank Thomas scorecards, which I will show you when I go through my safe. He had two. He signed two cards. I said, "You're very nice. Thank you very much." That was the altercation. I mean, it was very friendly. He was good to come out and do that because you don't see a lot of guys doing that, and that's the difference. Uh, so it's bullshit. Now, who are they going to throw to? They'll throw a Fryermuth. They'll throw to the backs. They've got Stackwell and you got Aaron Rodgers in Baltimore. Again, you've got Lamar it's Pittsburgh's biggest weapon because he'll throw his two picks in this game. TJ Watt's coming back. So Pittsburgh will be highly motivated if TJ Watt with the hurt lung comes back. They're going to be fired up. I think, how do you separate the game last week? You lost to Cleveland 13-6. How do you separate that from this game? And that's really the key to betting is how do you separate I lost with pocket aces to a set of nines? How do you separate that? How do you focus on it's this game? Now they're at home, they're a home dog. This is for the division. They could have won the division last week by beating Cleveland. They beat Detroit 2 weeks ago in Detroit. So how do you separate everything? And that's really the key. And that's what makes us professionals and everybody else amateurs when they're betting, because most people are looking at last week going, oh, they lost 13-6. They're not going to score. I'll bet the game under. I'll bet Baltimore. You can't look at it that way. You look at Lamar. He's terrible. You look at their defense. It's a 22 defense, last 5. Lamar's been out most of the year with these injuries. And when he was in, he didn't do anything. So he's just going to come off the bench after missing 4 or 5 weeks and just light it up against the Pitt defense. Pitt plays him twice a year. Pitt knows how to defend him. You got Aaron Rodgers, though. Whoa, back up the truck. You got Aaron Rodgers. They put up 27 on Baltimore 2 or 3 weeks ago. He knows how to beat them. So you got to be careful here. First of all, overrating Lamar. Being critical thinkers, we do not go along with the crowd. We don't just say, oh, it's Lamar, they're going to win. No, we go, no, Lamar sucks. We understand that because we analyze Lamar and we go, well, he hasn't played in 5 weeks. And when he did play, he sucked. Yeah, he had a good little run beating, Cleveland's and he lost to Cincinnati. He looked really good in that loss. Then he came back in when it was frozen and Burrow was fixed the game or whatever. But after that, he's hurt again. And in I don't remember the game he got hurt. I think Philadelphia or somebody. Anyway, I'm not all sold on Lamar, as you know. In every big game, he doesn't show up. He hasn't won anything in the postseason. He'll never win a Super Bowl. He's not a good quarterback. And if Baltimore had Huntley, I would be more apt to bet Baltimore with Huntley than I am with Lamar. But I'm still worried about Rodgers. Now, they're getting fucked with the DK Metcalf. This 2-game suspension is ridiculous. That's the league wanting Lamar in playoffs, and they don't like Aaron Rodgers. That's what this is about. I mean, it's bullshit. So at the end of the day, at the end of my speech, I ended up going over in this game. Now, I got a total went from 40 to 41. 41 and a half now. I only bet it once, and I bet it small. If there was DK Metcalf, this would be a lock over. Without him, I still think Rodgers finds a way to make the throws to get points. I think Baltimore with Lamar, he'll run for points, or Derrick Henry will run for touchdowns. But it's down to 35. 40 down to 34, I think, or 35. That's 20-16. I mean, I expect Baltimore to be in the 20s, and I expect Pittsburgh to be in the 20s. I expect a 40-something point game. I only need 35, just on principle that the spread's so low, and I got Aaron Rodgers. I'll go over in the total. So just using logic. Pitt is an under team with a 20 defense. Baltimore, 13-2 is a road favorite. So let's go through teasers. The play teams this week: Chicago, New England, Houston, Denver, and the Rams are all over 85% in the teaser this year or this year and last year. The play against teams are the shit teams, the JETSs: Arizona, Philadelphia, Tennessee, and the Giants. So the Houston, Tennessee game, well, no, it's Jacksonville, Tennessee, Houston, Indy. All right. So Houston, you should play them. You play against Tennessee means you take Jacksonville. Now these are 85% trends for the year in a 6-point teaser. This is where we excel at picking the teasers because of the trends, but we realize I can't go back 2 years on the Bears. I can only go one. I can go back 2 or 3 years on Kansas City, on Buffalo, on Baltimore, but on most of the teams that keep changing coaches and keep changing quarterbacks, I got to throw it out because the variables changed. And this is what cracks me up about when they're talking about like gold and silver charts. The variable changed. You have bricks. Bricks is buying. You do not have the same variable that you had 5 years ago because BRICS is buying gold and silver, and there are 20 countries, I think, going to 40, and they're all going to want gold, and that drives the demand up, which drives the price up. So that's really the key to it, and it's the same thing here in these football trends. Most of them you can't use. Take take Seattle. Well, you didn't have Darnold last year, so you can only have 1 year of Seattle. Now they are 14-2 on the road. They're 13-3 this year, so now they're 14-3. But you can't use last year's because Darnold wasn't there. So now you get 1 year of Seattle. The Niners, you could go a few years. Indiana, you can't. They're 9-1 on the road as a road dog, but you can't use it because it's Riley Leonard. So you got to be smart enough when you can use the trends and when you can't. We do look at Houston. They're 15-1 in the teaser, and yes, we can play them because they're going to play. Stroud's been there. The coach has been there. So that's what you want to focus on. Denver, we could go back 2 years because they had Bo Nix and Sean Payton. And they're 31-3 in 2 years. So that's your point of taking. I can take Denver. They fucking cover every time because they got the best coach. I think Sean Payton's the best coach. More so than Sean McVay. Obviously, Shanahan, he's the biggest choke I've seen. He's lost 3 Super Bowls with 10-point leads. He was the offensive coordinator for Atlanta when they blew the 24-3 lead. He then had the Rams up 10 on New England, the Niners up 10 on New England or on Tampa. Kansas City. When Kansas City won their Super Bowl over the Niners a few years ago, they were up 10 there. He doesn't know how to win. He's not a winner. And he proved it last night. He's not a winner. They did beat the Lions because the Lions didn't know what they were doing. You had Dan Campbell going for 4th downs instead of playing the game to win. And then they lost in the Super Bowl to Mahomes again. So, no, Shanahan's not a good coach. I prefer Sean Payton's the best, Sean McVay. Vrabel, I don't know. He was shit at Tennessee, and now he's better here, but he had really bad players at Tennessee, so I don't know. I don't like the Philly coach. Miami's coach is terrible. The Rams, yeah, Sean McVay, KC, Andy Reid, he's overrated. It isn't him winning. It's Tom Brady it's Mahomes who's winning. Right? It's just like Belichick. Without Brady, he sucked. He didn't even make the playoffs without Brady, but Brady went to Tampa and won. I mean, you give me a break. So it's the same thing here. Belichick's at North Carolina. They're 500 team. So it's really Andy Reid's good because he has Mahomes. If he didn't have Mahomes, he didn't do anything without. When he had Alex Smith, they didn't win anything. San Diego, I hate Harbaugh. And the Baltimore Harbaugh is just as bad. Detroit, I do not like Dan Campbell. He's an aggressive coach, but he's not a football coach. So he knows personalities and players, and he gets them like they'll be all excited to win today, which I don't know if they will be because there's nothing to play for. But he did that a few years ago when they were playing Green Bay. Green Bay needed it for a playoff game, and Detroit didn't, and Detroit won the game. But that's when Detroit was kind of hungry. Now they're out of it. They're all injured. I just don't see them play. They might play hard a little bit, but Green Bay is going to kill them. But he's not a good football coach, right? He's a good personal, motivator type of thing. And he's looking for a certain type of player who is passionate about football, I assume, but not necessarily good. And then he obviously can't game coach. He can't do it. It's 4th and 2. You need a field goal to tie the game. No, we'll go for it. No. You kick the field goal and tie the game up. You got to tie the game up. You got down there. No. We'll go for it. What if you don't make it? Well, we'll make it. Well, no. If you don't, if you don't make it, you lose the game. Do you understand that? He doesn't get that. He just thinks, well, we'll be aggressive and we'll go for it, and then that'll help us win the game. And you're like, no, there's a time you need to score more points. Just like the Seattle coach in the first drive last night. You're down to the 5. It's 4th and goal from the 5. You kick the field goal. You gotta get points to win the game, and he goes for it and doesn't make it. And you're like, what a fucking idiot! These coaches just don't get it. I don't know why. With all the 4th downs, you got to see who you're playing and what the situation is. You don't just go for it on 4th down, especially 4th and 5 from the 5. These are really bad coaches, right? The Oregon coach, I don't like him either. He's the same way. He'll go for it on 4th down, and it doesn't make it a lot. There's a time you kick your field goals, and there's a time you go for it. It depends what the score is and what's going on in the game. I'm hearing Dante Moore is like the number 1 pick in the draft or the top quarter. You got to be kidding. He's not very good. He didn't show up when they played Oregon. When they played Indiana in the first game, it was 30-20, of which 7 was a pick 6, so it was 30-13. Dante Moore didn't show up. And then you didn't have any other big games that they played where he showed up, and it's mostly a system thing. Dylan Gabriel, he ran the system. Now he's a little injured at Cleveland, and they're so excited to play Prime Junior for some reason. What a joke that whole thing was. Prime Junior is terrible, and that you should be playing Dylan Gabriel today, getting him experience. Anyway, that's where the thing is. So these coaches with this 4th down fantasy are just, that's why you see. So tomorrow will be the firing of another 7 coaches, right? There's 7 coaches that get fired every year in the NFL, roughly 6, 7, 8 every year. Why? Well, because you're not choosing the proper player or the proper coach, right? You don't know what you're looking at. You're just looking at blind. So you're not taking a good coach who should be the coach. You're not recognizing, like, why is the Cincinnati coach still there? He's terrible. Why did the Giant coach last so long? Why did Daniel Jones last so long? So it's bad. I mean, the Lions really need to get rid of Dan Campbell and the GM, but they won't because they had a good year last year. But they look at what you're seeing. The guy is a terrible coach as a game coach, right? Let's go for 4th down. Let's do this. Let's do that. And he makes all the same mistakes, and they lose a lot of games because of the coach. They lost the Philly game. They lost Washington in the championship game last year. They didn't run the ball. Philly runs Barkley 20 times. He gets 300 yards. What the fuck? You don't know what you're doing. And so that's a big thing. But it seems to take 5 years for these for the owners to realize that the guy sucks, or he has a good, he's getting us wins so we could raise prices on our tickets. And it's more of that. And look at all the merchandise. I see all these people when I'm at the club with Lions sweatshirts or hats on, and I just laugh at them going, well, you're wasting your time and money on that crap. Anyway, so that's what you got. So a lot of the betting that I do is I'm looking at the coach and I'm looking at the quarterback, but I have the talent to realize if he's good or not. Right. So I'm like, hey, you got Rodgers as a home dog today. He's a superstar. He don't like to lose. They'll find a way to be competitive in the game, and then Lamar's not good, and so you realize that, right? Baltimore's not going to go win 30-0. Okay, if you're thinking that, you're crazy. This will be a 20, 24, 21 type of game. It's a little cold, but not too bad. We did get shit on with the rain in Carolina, Tampa, but we still won because we bet it under. I saw it raining and I go, oh yeah, I got the game under, so I felt pretty good. You got Joe Burrow playing, so they'll try. And then the Ram game, they don't need it, but maybe they do for the seeding. Maybe they don't want to play. Maybe they want to play the 3 seed instead of the 4 seed or whatever. The 5 seed, the 4 seed is going to be Tampa Bay or Carolina. So they want to be the 5. So all these teams want to be the 5 seeds. Maybe that's what the Rams are doing, is trying to get to the 5 seed because of Green Bay's the 7 seed and then Frisco losing. That's why the Rams want to play Tampa Bay, Carolina. They don't want to fuck with Philadelphia or the Bears. But yeah, all of a sudden the Bears are strong. And they're just running it down your throat. I find the change in the league from passing to running. People were all 4 wide receivers throwing the ball because the rules changed. And now the refs keep calling pass interference on anything just so they can be on TV. The league's just terrible. But what do you notice is a lot of teams going to this, the Bears coaches offense, where it's a lot of crossing patterns and it's a lot of running. And now you've got these small defensive backs out there trying to stop the runners, and you can't do it. And the defense is getting more defensive linemen that can rush the passer, not can play run. And so look at that. So basically, here comes the run back, or Ben Johnson, the Bears coach. All he does is run it down your throat. The Lions can't handle that. I think Jacksonville is doing it. I think, we saw Seattle do that last night. They just ran it down your throat, and that's what they want. So I think it's changing back to let's run the ball, because now we have the mismatch where there's 5 defensive backs who weigh 180 who can't tackle these guys. So I think that's what you have. Profit. Raiders will probably take more if the Giants get the first place and take Mendoza. That would be a huge mistake for the Raiders. I thought the Raiders have the number 1 pick. I still take Daggio Pava over both of them by a mile. Mendoza, I don't know. We'll see what he does against. Well, we already saw what he did against Oregon. He didn't have a good game. He threw a pick 6. But where's Moore come into it? Or had a shit game against Indiana when they played. Moore's not a star. Moore's not a number 1 pick. He's not a first-round pick. This is the problem that these GMs have. They see a guy. That's why C.J. Stroud went high. They saw him against Georgia in a playoff game, and they got all excited, but they didn't watch when he played Michigan, and he couldn't get a first down. And you got to watch the whole picture, not just in one game, in a bowl game or in a playoff game where he has a good game. I'm not saying he had a good game. Who did they play last week? They played Texas Tech. He didn't have a good game against Texas Tech. Their defense played well, but he didn't do anything. So you got to be careful there. Overvaluing. You got to look at like Sawyer Robertson from Baylor. Look at his whole year stats. That's the difference, right? And that's really the key to it. Where you've got to look at that, right? You got to look at Daggio Pavia the whole year and last year and how strong he is. You can say he's small, but so was Drew Brees. Warren Moon, he did okay. So I'm not buying that. I would not be drafting. I would not take more over Met. Or I wouldn't even take more in the first round. He's not a first round, but he sucked at UCLA. He's in a different offense here, but what offense are you going to run? Okay, he goes to the Raiders. What offense are you going to run there? Are you going to run for Dante Moore? Are you going to run your normal offense, or whose offense are you going to run? And we know Coach Pete doesn't run the college offense. Profit. The Raiders could lose the first pick if they win and the Giants lose. They're not going to win. They laid down last week and lost to get the first pick. They're not going to win this week. So that's not going to happen. But okay, your picks, Carolina and 49ers and Frisco under. Yeah, see, you probably should have went with the Bears, the free pick I gave you versus Frisco under 50 or Tampa Bay. Uh, that was an under game, so I don't know where you got over from. Profit. If that happens, they could still get the first pick if the Bengals, Lions, and Saints all win. Well, that's not going to. Bengals will win. The Saints will probably win. The Lions aren't going to win. But I don't care about about all that. Just take care of business and lose to KC. I don't see how they're going to win. They're starting Pickett and they're going to go to O'Connell, which is ridiculous. Anyway, so that's pros for today. Your free pick is Chicago 41, Detroit 20. Again, who needs the game? Houston is trying to win the South. Jacksonville is in the lead, trying to get the number one pick also. They'll play. Dallas Giants, meaningless. Green Bay, Minnesota, meaningless. Cleveland, Cincy, meaningless. New Orleans, Atlanta, meaningless. Washington, Philly, meaningless. Miami, New England. New England playing for the 1 seed. Arizona, the Rams. The Rams look like they're playing for the 5 seed, so they can play whoever gets it for Carolina, Tampa. So that's why that line jumped. KC and Oakland, meaningless. San Diego, Denver. Denver needs it for the 1 seed. They win, they're in. Detroit, Chicago. Chicago, this is revenge. Look for a big win. Jets and Buffalo. Buffalo looks like they're playing. I don't know. It's the same thing. It's just seeding to go after the 5 seed. So they can play Jacksonville, I guess. It's Denver's on the bye, New England. The South will be Jacksonville or Houston. So maybe they want Jacksonville, I guess. And then Baltimore Pitt, that's the other one. Or maybe they want to play Baltimore Pitt. Although, we'll see. So those are the games on the line. The playoff games, Miami 3.5, 50, 1.5 to Ole Miss. We'll see the real Chambliss here. He ain't going to do shit against Miami. In Oregon, Indiana, we've already seen this. Indiana won 30-20 at Oregon, throwing a pick six. I'm sure they won't run that. I think Indiana, no problem against Oregon because Dan Lanning is a shit coach. All right, so there's a few videos I want to show you. So I'm not going to show you this because I don't want to waste your time with it. But he goes, now here's AI guy. JP Morgan warns you, silver crash. Well, they're going to they're not shorting silver because it's already shorted and worthless. I don't know that they're going to short it to lower their price. That's already been played, the margin call. And what the guy doesn't say is China and Russia will be on the other side buying the shit out of it if they short it. They're already probably buying it at 71. And then all these margin calls and all these banks going bankrupt because they have to sell their shorts. So a short means I want the price to go down. Okay. So it's at $72 now. I'm going to short it because I want the price to go down. What are you, out of your mind? The demand for silver is huge. Why would I short it? Only a moron would short it. So if I do short it, then China's on the other side buying it, saying, I want to buy it and I want to take delivery and I want the silver. So you're going to really short it? So JP Morgan's going to really do a $5 billion silver dump? Really? You're out of your mind. And as soon as they do it, China and Russia are going to be buying it. So the price is not going to drop. It'll probably go up because with the buyers on the other end. And we're done with the holiday. Let's see. So I want to show you this George Carlin thing. It's really good. He explains things. This is way back in the 70s or 80s, but it's a very good thing to watch.
This winter, keep your hands warm with these windproofs. Just look. George Carlin and Richard Pryor didn't just make people laugh. They paid attention. They talked about reality in a way many people were uncomfortable with. But you know what? Years later, the uncomfortable part isn't what they said. It's how accurate it still is. After listening to this, you'll understand just how deeply the minds of George Carlin and Richard Pryor are missed today. Take a listen.
Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right.
What Carlin is pointing out here is simple. Systems don't fear angry people as much as they fear people who think clearly.
They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it.
The reason why this hits home, it's because for many people, this isn't theory. It's daily life.
And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
When you listen to George Carlin all the way through, he's not talking about one group of people. He's describing a system that rewards obedience and discourages awareness. A system where security keeps shrinking while power and protection move further out of reach. What makes this powerful today is how little the structure has changed. That's why looking back now, we see that George Carlin wasn't exaggerating. He was right all along. Now let's watch how Richard Pryor exposed the reality of most of these people we think represents us. To be honest, this next clip is sad and disappointing.
You think it's tougher now for young people
No.
just to survive than it was when you were 15?
No, I think life is so much simpler now. Nobody starves in our country. Nobody has to go out in the corners to beg. You can go and get medical aid. Nobody lives in the streets.
There's some people that live in the streets.
Here in this country?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they don't have to.
Well, tell them.
Are you telling me that
I'm not being facetious.
No, I know you're not.
No.
You're telling me that people have to sleep in the streets like they do in India?
Yes, ma'am. But they don't. Yes, ma'am. They sleep in the streets and they die here in America.
Well, they die anyway, even if you sleep in a bed. You just described a number of deaths.
No, I meant like in India you die from starvation and stuff.
Well, you don't die of starvation here.
Yes, ma'am.
You can always get some food. We have.
I know we have it, but we don't always give it.
I'm sorry to differ with you, but I don't think statistics would show that you're right. Nobody has to starve in this country. There are.
If you get a gun, you don't have to starve. No.
Oh no, not with a gun. Come on, you know there.
Are you saying that the people who are below the poverty level, and there are a lot of people below the poverty
Of
level in this
course
country?
there are. The poverty level now, because of the cost of living, is almost $5,000.
No,
Dorothy really came
Now it's like
across as someone who believed that
35,000.
if she didn't see something, then it simply didn't exist. And what I appreciated is how Richard Pryor handled it. He didn't disrespect her. He didn't get emotional. He stayed calm, polite, and even used humor. But he never let go of the truth. He knew what he was talking about, and he stood on it. Let's finish the clip.
There are many
Appalachia,
people who live.
this is white people now, so I won't bring it to black people so you won't not believe me. In Appalachia,
There's no difference in my mind between black and white, and get that.
You're crazy.
You cannot say.
Now he's being frivolous now.
Now, I'll tell you something. That's it. You go hiding behind the fact that I must have a prejudice. Well,
No,
damn it, I don't.
No, ma'am,
I don't have a single
I wasn't
prejudice.
hiding behind that. I was
I
trying
don't
to tell
have
you,
any prejudice.
in Appalachia, I was trying to make a common denominator for the masses. Like if I use Appalachia rather than Watts,
Are they
would
starving
understand
there?
that better.
Are they starving?
In Appalachia, yes, ma'am. Sometimes the babies' bellies get swollen up, they don't get enough food, and they get retarded. You understand what I'm saying? Like because
I do,
they
but I don't
pain.
believe it.
No, ma'am, it's true. The children get retarded because they don't have enough food to make the enzymes work in their brain.
Having listened to you before, and some of the things you
Well, it's
said.
not just me. Walter Cronkite said.
Watching this today honestly hits different. This conversation happened almost 50 years ago, and the issues Richard Pryor was talking about are still here. People are still starving in America. People are still homeless. In fact, the numbers are higher now, and yet there are still people who don't want to see it, or simply refuse to believe it. What really stands out to me is that Richard Pryor wasn't trying to embarrass her. He was trying to help her see reality. And that's the sad part. When people are comfortable, they don't listen. If something doesn't...
And that's our struggle with gold and silver. The Richard Pryor is the dollar's collapsed. People don't want, oh, no, it isn't. They don't want to see it. And you buy gold and silver because you can't print them and you can't inflate them, and they will save you. And they don't want to hear it because they're comfortable with their $500,000 401ks or $200,000 401ks. They don't want to admit they're wrong. And since they know nothing of gold and silver, they can't possibly buy it because they don't know anything about it. So I saw that and I said, it's exactly what's happening now is people will not believe the dollar's worthless. And you could talk to the lady and the lady would say, no, you're wrong. And the poverty level, I love it, is $5,000. And that shows you the dollar collapse, right? That was 1970, 77 or 78. And it was $5,000 poverty. Now it's 35,000. And it's the same thing. And the dollar's worth even less and less and less. Now, the George Carlin part is exactly what I've been saying. It's the whole system wants you. This is what George Carlin's saying. The government wants to keep you in this. We'll make it an economic thing. The government wants to keep you in this. Even though it's worthless, they want to keep you in this. They don't want you to go into that. So now that silver's price is going up, they're trying to hold it down, which they can't do because of BRICS. And we're smart enough to see BRICS for what it is. They're buying gold and silver, they're getting out of the dollar because they know the dollar is worthless. So everybody there is educated knowing the dollar is worthless. So they're all buying gold and silver in China, in Russia, in India, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, Brazil. All the BRICS countries are smart enough to buy this and get out of this. And they realize it, but the people here are too stupid to realize it and they won't do it. But that's what the government wants, to keep you into this, because then you're dependent on them. The government, his only function is that you need them. And so we're going to create things that you need the government for. And by going into this, we don't need the government anymore. We don't want the government. We don't need the government. Oh, we want the laws and the protection, which is why we pay taxes. So I want the law. If somebody steals from me, I want to be able to prosecute, of course. But basically, we are free in this, and we are not. We are slaves in this. And you choose what you want to be. You want to be a slave, or you want to be free. And it's as simple as that. And that's what George Carlin says. The government doesn't tell you. All the corrupt bankers on Wall Street, which is all we talk about. And I'll take you to a Attack on Wall Street. I was just watching it for pleasure. And all the whole housing crisis, what did they do? They bailed out the banks. They didn't bail out him. He lost 60,000. And all they said, well, you gambled and you lost. Well, no, I didn't. That wasn't gambling. You took my real estate trust note and you deleted it. You said it doesn't exist. That wasn't gambling. That's bullshit. That's you stealing from me. But they're going to do whatever they can to make sure the Wall Street banks are solvent. Now, I don't get this. Mr. Fuji said, "Oh yeah, they bailed out the three banks," which he didn't name because he couldn't. He didn't want to get his friends fired. You're AI. You don't have friends. He didn't want to get them fired, and he didn't name the banks, but they're going to bail them out. Well, what are you going to bail them out with? This crap? This crap won't bail you out. This is worthless. So if you give a bank $10 billion to bail them out of this because they don't have any physical and they're stealing, well, we're going to do these derivatives and we'll pretend we have silver. But if you ask for it, we really don't have silver. Well, let's bail them out because they cheated, and we can't have them go broke because the banks run the government, and that's where I get that from. So the banks, why will they bail out the banks but not bail out the people? That's always a mystery to me. Well, it's not a mystery. We know why, because the banks run it. JP Morgan, they run the government, so they will bail themselves out, of course. But they're going to print money that's worthless, and that's the end of the game now. They'll try to bail themselves out with money that's worthless. So this $25 billion bailout they just did for three banks doesn't mean anything because the money's not worth anything. And the banks are they're the biggest crooks because they just print money. And that's why they are so scared of gold and silver, because they want you to stay in the money. Because once you pull the curtain back and realize the money is worthless, you're fucked. Once they pull that out, then you are fucked, because there is nothing back there. There's no physical gold or silver in comex to pay off the people. And you're dealing with China and Russia. You can't just ignore them. Well, we won't pay them, or we'll give them money. No, I want delivery. I want physical gold and silver. So that's where I get to the ice cream store. I say I have ice cream and it's really cheap, but when you come in, I don't really have it. Yeah, chocolate sundae for $1. Oh, I'll take 3 of those. I don't have chocolate ice cream. How about vanilla? Well, I don't have that. I really don't have any ice cream, but I'm going to say it's $1 for a sundae. And people are going to say, well, but you don't have it, so you're just lying to us. And that's what the comex is doing. They're lowering the price. They're just lying to us. They don't have the physical. And what they conveniently don't say is it's paper money. It's paper contract, gold price, silver price, not the physical. That's what I put in my title. So what I'm trying to say is this is real. This we hold. Nobody can screw me and say, oh yeah, this is worth $1,000, but no, now it's worth 0. No, because we have protection called BRICS. We have Russia and China. We're more than happy to buy up. They got 25, 30,000 tons of silver, and we know China's got 80,000 tons of gold. So China's going to want a higher gold price. So regardless what happens in this COMEX bullshit Ponzi scheme, we don't care, because they're going to come to the ice cream place to buy it, and they're not going to have any. And so they're not going to go to COMEX anymore, and COMEX is collapsing, which is what the first I showed you was COMEX. Where did I just show that? So like here, sell silver now. Bank warning, why Morgan Stanley is panic selling all their silver, because it's not worth anything, because they don't have it. And again, he conveniently leaves out silver contracts. He conveniently leaves out paper silver, and he just says, oh, they're selling silver. So how are you supposed to read that heading and you think it's physical, right? That's why you have to differentiate the physical from the paper, which is why I always try to say this is paper gold and silver prices, not physical, because it is. It's not the physical price. He shows you in Japan, it's 130 an ounce for silver there. Now I want to get to markets. So what do we see? We see, let's try to explain this. So he says $130 silver in Japan compared to 71 comex. But then he says, well, there's other countries where it's 100 in Korea and Vietnam or whatever that are different. So what we have now is one market for gold and silver. It's comex, and everybody uses the comex paper price as if it's the physical price, which it isn't. So he says something where he's got Japan. Where's he got it? Anyway. So the point is there's many markets for the price of silver now. Then he gets into this one, Venezuela's silver gone. Okay. And he tries to commit that it was taken by the US, which it wasn't. It was taken by Russia and China because you know whose goal it was? Russia and China's. Russia and China run Venezuela, but they take the oil and the gold and the silver out of it and whatever minerals. So they steal it all, but it's theirs. So they took a plane, and it was a Russian plane that took, I don't know, what was this? So many tons went back to Russia and China. Well, it was theirs. The U.S. tried to come in and take it, and China and Russia said no, and they gave the U.S. like 200 tons or something, and the rest to Russia and China. That's theirs. That's what they do. This is what we do. We go into other countries and we steal their gold and their oil. And this is why everybody hates the U.S., including us, because it's bullshit. Anyway, let me show you this. I'm thinking 5 steps right now, so be careful. Japan 130, Kuwait 106, North Korea 97. So why 3 different prices? Because we have 3 different markets. We're going to have a market for every country. Well, what we have now is one price, COMEX, which is a bullshit price. But even if we did, why would the US price everybody's gold? So that's one market, and that's a monopoly. But now I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you about markets. So what is a market? We've explained this, but we're happy to explain it again. What is a market? It's when somebody wants to sell something and there's a buyer for it. So market works if there's a buyer for what you're trying to sell. And then you work on the price. You know, like I said with my Canadian club, I'll sell it for $100. There's no buyer. There's a buyer at 75. Okay, so my market is $75 for my Canadian club. But there could be multiple, you own a Picasso, like my Van Gogh over here, right? Let me go this way. Yeah. So this Van Gogh, now it's not real. It's just a poster. But let's say it was real. There might be 10 markets for it, which means for everybody I sell it to might have different prices that they're willing to go. So I'd take you to Joe Montana rookie card. We got 71,000 here, and we've got 99,000 here. Now this I think is shipping, $109 for shipping. This guy's shipping it for free. But he wants 99,000. But look, there's 2 markets. Well, it's the same card. It's Montana rookie PSA 10. Why are there 2 different prices? Because there's 2 different markets. There's one seller trying to sell it to a market of what I can get, and then there's another seller trying to sell it to the same market. One guy wants 71,000. One guy wants 99,000. Usually these are or best buys. So if I was selling this card, I would say 110,000 or best best. What do you call it? The best price. So if I put 110 and you'll give me 99, then it's up to me if I want to, match it. Is there a market of 110? So you can see there's several markets because these are individual markets. There could be 50 different Montana rookie cards, PSA 10, in 50 different markets. Some guys selling for 110, some guys selling for 71, some guys selling for 99. So this is what I'm warning about. There's many markets. There's not just one. In gold and silver, we're seeing, I just showed you 3 different markets and comex. So if we look at it, let's say it's Montana. So it's 110, 99, 71. 71's comex. So what do you want to do? I want to buy it from comex because it's 70. Like I'll let me buy it for 71, not 99. I can save $28,000. Get the same card, PSA 10. But the guy for 71 doesn't have it. He's got the auction out there and it looks pretty. But if you win the auction, oh, I don't have the card. That's comex. The 99 is China or Japan. Hey, you want gold and silver from us, it's going to be 99. And then there's Russia saying, well, we're going to sell it at 110. We don't care if anybody buys it. We're not giving it away cheap. Me, in my world, I am not letting gold go under 10,000. I might need to sell an ounce. Again, it's if you have a bill or a vacation or Johnny's going to school or something happened that you need the money, you can cash in, but I wouldn't cash in more than 1 ounce of gold or silver. Well, at this price, gold, 4,500. I would only cash in 1 and get the money because I don't want to be caught in money, right? This is worthless. So I don't want to sell my gold for this. Right? Unless I have to, unless this is needed to pay a bill or something or food or a vacation. So then I would sell 1 ounce. But if I have 100 ounces, I'm not selling 95 ounces in profit taking. I am holding that. And because I know the value of that is very strong and much higher than what it is. So it's the same thing here. I do have the Montana card. It's not graded, but let's say it's a PSA 10. I'm not giving it away for under 100 grand. Now, if I need the money, then maybe I take 75 grand. If I don't need the money, it's 110, and that's then gets into what's happening here. Does the guy need the money for 71,000? Why are you letting it go for 71 when the other guy's 99 and we've seen it go for 110? And so in the gold and silver market, that's why the countries are different. It's what they need. Japan, $130 an ounce for silver, where Korea was 99 or something. So yeah, and then there was 105 by somebody. So you have different countries selling it at different amounts with different reasons. They might need the money. They might not need the money. Their money's worthless. Japan, we know, is hyperinflation. Their money's worthless. Basically, everybody's money's worthless, right? And when BRICS comes out with their gold-backed currency, if it's digital, it won't last. It's got to be real money. And I remember Putin holding up some paper dollars that were gold-backed, that were the prototypes. So that's where they're going. They might pay for oil digitally or like with the credit card. So they might do that, but the rest of it is got to be backed by gold. You need something physical. You need paper. You can't sell digital. Digital gold doesn't exist. Only real gold. We're seeing the digital gold with the Ponzi scheme in comex. So what comex is doing, same thing Attack on Wall Street guy did. It's just all fake. They're selling gold contracts and futures on leverage, and people are buying it because they think it's a fixed game that they'll be covered, and they'll short it, and then they'll go and somebody will buy their short, and it'll be a price swap. But they're thinking the old way. They're not adjusting to the new variables, which is BRICS. So you can see there's going to be apparently several markets. There'll be a China market, a Russia market, a Japan market. Eventually, there'll be a U.S. market where there'll be a price of gold. Right now, they're trying to use COMEX as the price, which is bullshit. COMEX isn't real. At least Japan and Korea are real physical gold prices, right? 130 in Japan's for physical gold. I go to the store and I get $260 for this. That's what the physical market is. In the US, they're just fucking around with paper and everything that Mr. Fuji says is about paper. It's about derivatives. It's comex. It's options. It's got nothing to do with physical. That's why we don't listen to him. That's why we don't like him. He's very misleading. He comes up with facts that are bullshit. JP Morgan's going to dump $7 billion in silver based on what? So they put 7 billion what they're shorting it. I thought they just went long. I mean, he talks out of both sides of his mouth. JP Morgan just sold all their shorts and bought longs. Now they're dumping this money in because you saw a letter. Well, show us the letter. Well, I can't because I'm AI. And so even if they do, you're not saying, well, wait, here's China and Russia on the other side buying it. Again, the people who want silver go to COMEX because it's $72 an ounce. So they go there, even though when they get there, the ice cream shop doesn't have chocolate and vanilla, but they advertise it. Or the guy with 71,000 for the Montana card either needs the money or doesn't really have the card. But the guy with the card at 99,000 says, I want to get what the value is on this card, which is probably 110. So there's different markets. There's several markets. There's not one market. We go to Kroger's, we go to Meijer's, we go to Walmart. You can get things at different prices. That's why we shop around and we compete. That's what competition is. Oh shit, I can get Pop-Tarts for $4 at Bush's, but I go to Meijer's or Walmart and it's $2. I'll go buy it there, which is the whole premise that I bring up about competition. And if the steak's $20, I went yesterday and the steak was $20 for it was New York strip was I think $17 a pound. I didn't buy it, so I bought 2 pounds of hamburger at $6.99 or something like that. And I made 8 hamburgers, right? So had a good dinner. But that's the point. So you're there's the competition, so you're going to several places. Well, that's what's happening with gold and silver. These other countries are coming to the US because COMEX is saying it's $72. But what they're not saying is, but they don't have any. The inventory is gone. And when they have to cover and settle, so China says, I'm going to buy it at 72. I'm going to buy all these contracts. Okay, I want delivery, which you're supposed to do in a day. Well, we don't have it. Well, wait a minute. You said you did. So now what happens, right? So then nobody goes to COMEX because they don't have any physical. And that's why JP Morgan brought in 25,000 tons of silver to cover all these contracts, or they go bankrupt because then if they don't have it, who's going to go to COMEX anymore? So COMEX is liar, liar, pants on fire, and they're not real. They don't have the physical. That's the Ponzi scheme. They're saying they do for years, but nobody really cared about getting it. And then BRICS comes along and says we're gonna buy all the gold and silver up, and we'll go to COMEX to get it. And COMEX says I don't have any more. So now they're going to go into the market, and the price will go up 10 times because you can't price fix it. So this is what Mr. Fuji doesn't get. He's sitting there saying JP Morgan's going to dump, and he's telling all the banks to get out. Yeah, because it's broke and it's going out. It reminds me of Madoff. When Madoff was about to go out and tell the FBI it was a Ponzi scheme, let's say on a Friday, and on Monday he called up JP Morgan and says, you better take your money out. That's exactly what I thought was going on when I read that. So JP Morgan took their $1 billion out of Madoff, or however much they had, before he went to the FBI to say, okay, it's a Ponzi scheme, and that's it. So Madoff warned JP Morgan to do that. And that's what they're doing now. They're telling the banks, you better dump all your silver and gold contracts because we're going out, boys. We don't have the Ponzi scheme's up. And so I don't know how much longer that's going to take. I would say by the end of January, COMEX should be cooked. We'll see. I don't know everything about it, but I know the the economics about it. If you are trying to sell something and you don't have it, nobody's going to try to buy from you. And so since it's a fake price and Japan's selling real and Korea's selling real, here's physical at this price, and you can see it's much higher. So that's what the US will have to do, is start selling their silver much higher price. They won't be able to keep manufacturing this fake comex. As well as people are discovering that comex is fake. We knew it right away because we understood. We dug in and we critically thought, what is comex? Oh, it's paper, it's options, it's derivatives, it's not real. So what have I been telling you since day one? The real physical price is 10 times higher because this is manipulated down and it's paper, and it's 50,000 ounces of gold being sold when you only have 5. I mean, it was bullshit. And that's why we buy it and we hold it, because we know the price. Like I said, I'd go into the coin store, and when I bought this for, this is like 30 an ounce. So this cost me $60 because it's a 2-ouncer. And when I did that, I'd jump and I'd sing and dance all the way to the car because I knew I had just bought a piece of silver worth probably $500 an ounce for $60. And that's why I keep telling you buy, and you can't have enough because it's the sale of the century. You're buying extremely limited at a very cheap price. And then when COMEX breaks, what price will we use? But we can see, well, let's fly to Japan and I can get $150 an ounce. I'll go take 20. I'll go take 200 ounces and go sell it there. Although I don't want to, because I don't want to get the bullshit dollars. If I sell it, I want to go to Russia and get gold back, Russian BRICS currency. Then I'm getting gold for it. So that's worth it if I need the money. But that's where it ends up. So we will have multiple markets for the silver price. This whole monopoly of COMEX is bullshit. It's been bullshit. It's run by JP Morgan, who all they do is run monopolies. They don't believe in competition because they can't handle it. And then you have Wall Street, which is, again, it's a market. It's a competition market. You think the stock market, that's fixed. You saw Wall Street. You saw Michael Douglas. Hey, Blue Star says this, and it drives the price up $10, and then he sells. It's all manipulated. You have no idea what you're doing in it. You have no idea why you buy and sell stocks. You want to make money. You have no idea what's being done behind the curtain. So the advice is stay away from stocks. You got gold going down every day at 10 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck is that? And then it goes up to 10:30. Why at 10 o'clock is the price being slashed? For nobody's selling. So you have all these problems that you got to realize, and that's what we're doing. So the gold and silver, you don't want to sell now. It's way, way, way undervalued. And depending on what country you're even, buying and selling for. And again, we need to get away from COMEX. But as long as my store keeps using COMEX, I keep buying. I don't want to sell there, but I want to buy there. So you keep buying because you know it's worth 10 times. And you're seeing $150 in Japan, but that's not even the tip of the iceberg yet. So you just keep holding it. Nobody can come and say, oh, that silver is worthless. COMEX is worth 0. I don't give a fuck about COMEX. All I care about is the physical market. I care about what's the physical gold price. And that's where COMEX is ending. They cannot produce the physical, and they are out. Nobody else is going to your store to buy ice cream because you don't have any ice cream to sell. So that makes that pretty easy. All right. I hope you got all that. I love how one thing leads to the other, to the other, to the other. But that's how economics works. You see it here, and then you see it here, and you can put it together. That's kind of why I do the Titanic. It's really the best example. The boat hits the iceberg, the water comes in, you have to get to a lifeboat, and you certainly don't want to get back on the Titanic. You want to stay in the lifeboat, and that's what's happening now. This is worthless, and you get to the lifeboat, which is gold and silver, and you certainly don't want to get out of gold and silver to go back on the Titanic or the dollar. So I'm never ever selling this to get into that. And like I said, unless it's some, I really need money. I really need this to pay some bills or go on a vacation or something. And so I will trade only a couple of these to get that, but I'm not trading the bulk of mine, and I'm not profit taking. Well, I bought it at 20 and now it's worth 70. Oh, let's profit take. What are you, out of your mind? Why would you do that? Because then you get back into this. And when silver goes to 150, and now you figure out you need it. See, you never want to get back onto this. Why would you get into the sinking ship? You never want to. So it's as simple as that. And that's what we're seeing. And all this, like, we don't care. Venezuela, Russia, China took their gold and silver back. Well, okay, who cares? I mean, we don't care. Oh, at night they did this. And he always sings and songs until he gets to the point. I always put in the comments, get to the fucking point. Like, nobody wants to hear, like, Hitler was born in Austria. We don't care. Just get to the fucking war. So again, he doesn't really understand it. He doesn't understand if Morgan Stanley tries, or JP Morgan tries to sell, that China and Russia are going to buy. And that's going to keep the price, will go up. But again, it's a paper price. So does the paper price go to the Japan price of 130? It should, because you're gonna, if you don't have it, who's gonna come to your store and buy it? So nobody's gonna go to Comex to buy. So you got idiots selling paper options and derivatives, and nobody buying it because it's not real, and it'll go out. It'll go bankrupt because I need physical. I'm a tech company and I need physical, or a car company or whatever. I'm a company and I need physical silver. I'm not going to Comex. Well, if there's nobody there, if nobody's coming to shop, you close the store. So that's what's happening. So I don't know how much longer it's open. I don't know the complexity of it, but I don't think much longer, unless they actually have the physical and they start selling it at 130, which they can't do because there's not enough physical in the world to get it. So you can sell at these ridiculously low prices of $71, $72 when it's really $125, $150 for an ounce. You're trying to sell it for 72 and you don't have it. And so you're trying to get more gold and silver in, which you can't because China and Russia got it all. And so you're fucked. That's where they're at. They don't have any. There's no more ice cream in the store, and so who are you going to sell to? Yeah, I want a sundae. Well, I don't have any ice cream. Okay, well, I'll see you later. I'm going to go to Kroger's and get ice cream then. It's as simple as that. All right. Profit with the Raiders. I didn't realize how bad the weather was at Tampa yesterday. Yeah, I probably saw rain. I don't remember the forecast, but it wasn't. I didn't think it would be that bad, but I didn't think they'd score a lot anyway. I was happy to see the rain because I had bet the game under. Again, you've got to, at least take my analysis to reality. The both teams were under teams. Both teams don't score a lot anyway, right? Carolina and Tampa, both under teams. Probably, I think Tampa has 15 points a game and Carolina maybe 18 or 19. So where are you going to get a high-scoring game anyway? The defenses were 23, so you get a little bit, but that was the point. You're not dealing with high-scoring teams. Now with the Rams and the Bears, yeah, we should get high scoring. That's the difference. You got good quarterbacks, you're going to get points. Look at my plays in the college football playoff. I went under with Miami and Ohio State because you had two weak quarterbacks but two great defenses. Oregon, Texas Tech, you had two decent quarterbacks and two really strong defenses. In Alabama, Indiana, you kind of had okay, but you had pretty good defense in Indiana, which is getting better. And in Ole Miss, Georgia, you had a good quarterback in Ole Miss, and you had a good quarterback in Georgia. But then when Ole Miss then gets Miami, defense wins. And if he has no time to throw, he's in trouble. He's not going to light up Miami. That's ridiculous. And you go to the Texas A&M game and you see Texas A&M's quarterback got 3 points. What was that score? That score was 10-3. So you think Chambliss is going to light him up? So Chambliss has one good game. All of a sudden, he's the first draft pick, or the guy on Oregon, Dante Moore. He didn't even have a good game. I mean, they won 24-0 against Texas Tech. He's going to be the number one quarter. All of a sudden, people see him play one good game. But wait a minute, did you see the Oregon-Indiana game? Did you see the Ole Miss other games when they lost? I mean, they have a loss or two. Did you watch those games? Did you see him against Old Mississippi State? Did you see him against Alabama or Tennessee? I mean, you got to watch the whole season. You can't look at one game, and depending on the matchups, what's going on. So I wouldn't draft Dante Moore at the first pick. I wouldn't draft him in the first round. Again, we see Oregon's system, and then here's Dylan Gabriel, who's doing decent at Browns, but the Browns don't have much help for him. But he's not better than Dylan Gabriel, who was really good last year. And then you had Bo Nix at Oregon, and Bo Nix is okay. He's not superstar, but he's a really good quarterback. So you see the system, right? Everybody throw them in, and they're good, and that's the difference. So anyway, good luck today. www.teaserking.com. I post early, and it's helped me on the Ram game. It helped me. There's 3 or 4 games today. Cincinnati and the Rams and New England and the Denver game and the Buffalo game, where the lines really move, but I bet them 2 days ago. As soon as you see the game and you get, okay, it's decent weather and decent injuries, you bet it. You don't wait till the end. That's why this guy's trying to tell me about closing line value, and I'm laughing at him. He says, well, you don't understand. I go, I don't wait till the closing line to bet. I bet based on figuring out the games. My level is up here. If everybody's doing formulas, they're down here. They're not close to our level, my level. And I'm figuring out the game, who's going to win it, right? And that's the difference. So, like today, the Bears, I figure, will beat the Lions for reasons X, Y, and Z, as I gave you. And then I put a score down 41-20. That's how you bet. You don't bet on, well, wait, the closing line went from, oh, wait a minute, what is it? The Rams went from 7 to 10 or whatever they're at. Oh, well, okay, we bet the Rams. Oh, that loses a lot. That loses more than it wins probably. So I don't buy looking at the closing line going, and now I'm going to bet it. If I don't know why I'm betting it, I'm not betting it. If I don't know why I'm buying gold and silver, then I'm not buying it. If I don't know why I'm buying a real estate trust or a stock, I'm not buying it. And when you realize the game's rigged, you stay away from a rigged game and you go to the one game that isn't rigged, which is this. If I have physical, I'm fine. I beat the game. I win the game. John C. TK Raiders to get Mendoza. Well, they should get Daggio, but they'll find out they made a mistake. I don't buy that pick. There's these defensive players on Miami and Texas Tech they should be drafting. And, Geno Smith sucks. And Kenny Pickett, but whoever you draft first, Mendoza's not it. He's not the stud. Daggio is the once, he's the Joe Burrow. He's won every 10 years is Daggio. But Mendoza won't be any. And if you don't have an offensive line to protect him and you don't have receivers, it really won't matter, will it? So you'll have it, but you need the linemen, offensive and defense first, especially defense. You can lose a bunch of 3-0 games and you're fine, but if your quarterback's going to get hurt because there's no offensive line and there's no defensive line, so the defense isn't going to do anything, what's the difference? I would trade Crosby and get some draft picks is what I would do. Profit Raiders need O linemen as well. They need D linemen. They don't like Daggio attitude, I guess. So tell him to fuck off. What's wrong with his attitude? He's a winner. He wins at New Mexico State, and then he wins at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt beats Alabama. What's wrong with his attitude? Oh, and you know what Mendoza's attitude is? Or this guy on Oregon, his Dante Moore? That's bullshit. You don't know his attitude. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I suppose Bo Nix had a bad attitude too. Or Jalen Daniels. Maybe he had a bad attitude versus Caleb. Did Caleb have this great attitude? If anybody has a bad attitude, it's Caleb. It's Trevor Lawrence. It's these bums that are out there. So I don't buy that. How do you know his attitude based on what? Did you call the Vanderbilt coach and the New Mexico State coach? How's Daigo's attitude? I'm sure he said he's fine. So I don't. If that's the determination, not that he plays, I don't see a bad attitude from him, and I think he's the best quarterback. So I don't know what they're talking about. All right, let's go watch some football. I got to get to the pool. This is a tough week. I had to get to the pool early on New Year's Eve, early on New Year's Day. Today they close at I think 3:30 for some kid thing where the kids all have the pool. So I need to get there early because I think they close at 3:30. So I'll probably get there like 2:00. So I'm going to have some lunch. I got my hamburgers and my chicken, and off we go. So have a good day, everybody. Good luck, the bettors. Be careful who you're betting on. Have a purpose. Buy your gold and silver physical. That's a no-brainer. We've been buying it from here based using comex, which is the lowest price. So we've been buying things that are worth twice the value or 10 times the value, I think. So just keep buying if you can. If you can't afford an ounce of gold, buy a quarter ounce of gold. That's like $1,100. But you got to get out of this. You got to get out of your stocks, and you got to get out of your bonds and real estate. You got to get off the paper world because it's all manipulated by the banks. So you've got to get out of that world and you get into the world that we are all alone in. Everybody's leaving us alone in this world. This is the world we got to get into. And it's simple. And you can see it was $20 an ounce, which was bullshit. And now it's $130 in Japan. And wait till it starts moving as these companies need silver to make their products. It's going to get much, much higher. High demand, low supply, price goes up. So we're just sitting here waiting. And it's the prudent move to buy the physical and get out of the COMEX, get out of the attack on Wall Street, who we sold it to you for the commissions. And then we fucked you over by delisting it. And that's the bottom line. All right. Well, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Again, I think Denver gets the win. The free play is Chicago. And we'll see. So Seattle gets the 1 seed. It's funny, Atlanta, New Orleans. I think New Orleans has more to play for because they've been playing hot. I think New Orleans wins that game, or I think they're a very live dog getting 9.5 there. But they can't get in, so there's nothing to play for. So we'll see. But anyway, that's what's going on. So Jacksonville and Houston and Joe Burrow, New England and Denver, and look at the Rams look like they're going to play Chicago, Buffalo. And then tonight, the Baltimore Pit. If you don't know, you tease the dog, or I went over because it's so low, only needs 35 points. It'll be cold there, but not too windy, not raining. And it won't be a factor for Baltimore and Pittsburgh. They're cold teams anyway. So look for Aaron Rodgers to have a big day and look for you hope you see Jalen you hope you see Todd Huntley in the game and not Lamar. Lamar's going to lose it for you. Huntley can win it for you. So anyway, good luck. We'll talk more tomorrow, gold and silver. We'll see what happens. Now about 6:30, COMEX comes back on. Again, it's not a real price, but that's what they're using to pay us. Fine, but we're not looking to sell at this point. We want to hold it, and I don't think we'll ever look to sell. We'll sell a few ounces here and there, but we're not looking. The bulk of it ain't moving. All right. Have a good night. Enjoy the football. www.teaserking.com. Take care, everybody.